duet is a legally binding contract. And Jessica Mamie, mezzo-soprano, who has brought us exciting portrayals from bel canto to musical theater and is ready for more. And our scorekeeper is mezzo Stephanie Morgan Russell. Our guests this week are Christina Jensen and Maestro Robert Ashens. And boy, do we have a show in store for you.
Oh.
Christina, a dramaturge and accomplished stage director. Impressively, she earned her MFA in dramaturgy from the American Repertory Theater at Harvard University. So Christina, you started studying music because you're tone deaf.
Correct.
And your mother encouraged, yes?
Correct.
Tell us, that's incredible. I was telling you earlier that I tell everybody, anyone can learn to sing. It's a practice, it's a study.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone can learn to sing unless you're tone deaf. That's what I tell people.
Oh, well, I'm kind of here to prove you're wrong, Natalie. I loved to sing as a little girl, and I was could not carry a tune in a bucket, like desperate. It was terrible. And my mom was really afraid as I grew older that I would go to school and someone would make fun of me. So she got on her hands and knees and begged our choir director, will you please take her on and just teach her to match pitch. I'm not expecting an opera singer. I'm not expecting her, to do anything glamorous. Please, just make her match pitch. And he took me on, and I love music, and I've continued to love music. I went on in college. I was part of the Ames program in Graz, part of the few students in the United States who were invited for that program. I won 3 years in a row the concerto competition at my school, and so anyone can learn to sing, even those who are tone deaf. It is a practice thing.
I will stand corrected from here on out. That's quite incredible. How amazing. Thank you. And now I'd love to introduce Robert Ashens. Robert, the artistic director and co-founder of West Coast Opera, Oregon, has conducted opera and musical theater for over 30 years, all over the world. So, Robert, you mentioned in our conversation that you are an avid gardener of vegetable, herbal, and flowers, and that this was an incredible outlet for you through the pandemic. You also said it led to quite a bit of focus with your music. What's your favorite thing to plant?
My favorite thing to play? You mean
plant?
As a...
Oh, no, plant. Oh, we're talking about gardening.
To plant. Well, gosh, that's a tough one. I wouldn't say vegetables. Although I'm trying to do a legitimate vegetable garden now, and I have done tomatoes for years, but really, I take on my mother's side, which is more floral gardening, that I appreciate the most, and I can coax dead plants into life. I'm pretty good at that.
Yay, I need you. I have everything.
Christina, I was thinking of your story, and I brought a bucket in case somebody needed to sing in a bucket.
Oh, good.
I'm always ready for that.
Oh, good.
I'm glad you succeeded, though, without the bucket.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you both for sharing. Let's begin. So in this first round of 4 questions, each correct answer is worth 1 point. With each successive round, the questions become more difficult and worth more points. At the end of the show, both competitors will win a priceless Riddle Me Opera coffee mug, but only one will have the bragging rights as tonight's winner. If you answer correctly, you will hear Stephanie make this sound. And incorrect, you will hear.
Oh no.
I don't think we're gonna hear that tonight. So let's stay positive.
Who knows?
So the questions in this round will be asked by our panelist, Jessica Mamie. Opening round is all yours.
Let's do this. So our first question is going to go over to Christina. Here we go.
Got her up.
Seville, Spain is a beautiful city beloved by opera composers. Which of these operas does not take place there? Is it A, Carmen, B, Fidelio, C, Madame Butterfly, or D, The Barber of Seville?
I would say C, Madame Butterfly. It's not even on the same continent.
Yay.
Well done.
Woo woo.
Off to a running start. All right, Robert, that means you're up next. Here we go. Parents find many reasons to interfere in their children's love lives. In La Traviata, why does Germont come between Alfredo and Violetta? Is it A, they attend lavish parties and never invite him to come along? B, Violetta's scandalous past will ruin his family's reputation? C, Violetta has TB and it's highly contagious? Or D, Alfredo has gained 38 pounds since moving in with Violetta at the end of Act 1?
It's all the pasta.
Well, we know the real answer is B, but I'd like to say it's all of the above. It's B. Thank
You
you,
got
Stephanie.
it. You got it. All right. We're cooking with gas now. Off to Christina for your second question here. The most unusual death in opera may be the bandit Ernani's demise by hunting horn in the Verdi opera based on a story by Victor Hugo. What happened? Was it A, it fell on his head when he entered the hunting lodge and slammed the door behind him? B, he accidentally dropped his horn in the brush while hunting, stepped on it, and tumbled into a ravine? C, he practiced the Hindemith Sonata every day and a neighbor shot him? Or D, indebted to his rival, Don Rui Gomez de Silva, for sparing his life, he swore a sacred oath to kill himself if the horn ever sounded?
Oh, I was waiting for the Verdi question. I am not as good with Verdi as I should be. I know it can't be C. I'm trying to decide between B and D. I mean, D sounds very enticing. It sounds very dramatic and operatic,
What are we gonna go with?
but it could be a red herring. Why not? Let's say D.
Woo!
All right.
That was a great
Operatic
choice, but you
storyline for the
know,
win.
A could have been pretty funny because sometimes plots are really ridiculous.
They can be.
And just for a fun note, Ernani, actually a nobleman, rescues the soprano and marries her. During the wedding banquet, the horn call is heard and Silva hands Ernani a dagger. He is honor bound to comply. That's kind of how it plays out. So
Always.
always gotta stick to the code there. So one more question in this round, and it's for Robert. So here we go. At a critical moment, one of the following demands verification of someone's handwriting. Is it A, Edgardo, who loves Lucia and wants to know if the signature on the marriage contract is hers? B, the manager of Café Momus, who questions Alcindoro's signature on the bill for everyone's Christmas dinner? C, Ramphis, who suspects Radames of painting "Free Ethiopia Now" on the walls of the Temple of Ptah, the punishment for which is being buried alive? Or D, Gretel, who found the witch's recipe for turning children into gingerbread cookies and wants to know if it's kosher?
Well, tragically, it's A. And Edgardo breaks Lucia's heart by even asking the question. So
Got it. That was a solid
Wow.
round.
Solid round. Stephanie,
It's tied 2-2. Perfect round, you guys.
there
ooh,
it
I
is.
did it.
Yay.
We've still got a long way to go. All right, our next round is basically our Name That Tune round. And tonight's audio quiz theme is timely arrivals. Each contestant will be given a short operatic audio clip from which they must identify the opera for 1 point and what is happening or to whom it is happening for 2 points. If you do not know an answer or give a wrong answer, your opponent will now be given the opportunity to answer that question correctly for the point. Randy, take it away.
Okay, Maestro, this is the first tune we want to hear for Christina. I think she knows it.
Oh, it's
Christy,
such a
what is
beautiful
the opera?
dramatic moment. It's Don Giovanni, Mozart's Don Giovanni.
Yes, indeed.
Very good, very good. Now, what is happening when that music is being played?
Well, it can be debated. The ghost of the commendatore or the commendatore himself comes back to have dinner with Don Giovanni, and he drags him off to hell.
Perfect,
Yes, indeed.
Yay!
perfect answer.
Wow.
Baba. No.
Wow, nobody's missed a single one yet. That's pretty good. Okay, and by the way, this music is identical to what is sung in The Stoned Guest, a parody by Peter Schickele, which would also have to be considered a correct answer had it been given. Okay, Robert, this tune will be for you. Maestro? Okay. Can you tell us the name of that opera?
Noche di Figaro. Well, if you're talking about Peter Schickele, that I can't.
That was the previous question. That was the previous,
Oh, I
that
see.
was a comment on the previous.
Amazing.
We'll give you another crack at the correct answer. Do you want to hear the tune again?
I do.
Oh,
Go ahead, Maestro.
well, that's
Okay.
definitely parodying a moment in the Marriage of Figaro, but I don't know what it is.
Well, unfortunately, and Christina, that gives you a chance for a steal.
I don't know what it is either. It certainly sounds like Mozart. I mean, my best guess would be Die Zauberflöte. Really?
That was it. The
I have
magic
no
flute.
idea what's happening.
Well, as
Be
to
curious
that,
to know what
this
moment
goes-
that's from.
Yeah.
Hold it. This goes back to Robert. He gets the second question, which is what is happening? Now that you've identified the opera, he gets the chance to identify what is happening when that music is played.
Well, I don't recognize it from that moment, and I've done Noche di Figaro, Zauberflöte a number of times, so I don't recognize what moment that is from at all.
All right, well, Christina, do you want to take a crack at it?
It certainly sounds a little bit like one of the Queen of the Nights arias, but maybe her first one, but I can't place it.
Scoremaster in the Sky, what do you think about that answer?
Yeah. That's right, I didn't know.
Unfortunately, the Queen of the Night is not in that scene at all.
Shoot.
But it's the lady, the three ladies of the Queen of the Night who have just
Okay.
magically appeared to rescue Prince Tamino by killing a serpent that was pursuing him. But he's unconscious, the brave prince having passed out from fear. So they have time to admire how handsome he is.
Well, that's practically in the opening scene, then.
Very beginning.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That quote then is non più andrai farfallon amoroso from Noche di Figaro. So Mozart's quoting himself.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mm.
Interesting.
Okay, the next
Remember, you
two.
guys, what's happening, the theme of this round is timely timely arrivals. So keep that in mind as
Okay.
you're trying to figure out what's going on, timely
Okay.
arrivals.
Yes, or untimely
Or
arrivals. but
untimely.
As we may get to with the next question. Okay, Maestro, would you play the next tune? This one is for Christina.
Okay.
Christina, does that ring any bells?
Not a single one.
Not a single
Not a
one.
single one. It sounds a little bit more modern to my ear, but I could be completely off.
Well, we'll give Robert a chance to
Please,
straighten us
please.
out.
I'd like to hear the excerpt again.
Hmm.
Maestro. Want to hazard a guess?
The knocks are confusing, but that should be a clue, I guess.
Yes, yes.
That seems to me more modern than anything else. Like Christina said. No, I'm afraid unless you gave some other clue, I can't guess it either.
Well, I guess no points in this round, but the knocking is on the knuckles of one Gilda. It is Rigoletto. It's a dark and stormy night. It's the beginning of the final act, and Rigoletto has hired Sparafucile to assassinate the Duke in his tavern. But Maddalena wants to spare him. She's persuaded Sparafucile to kill someone else instead, which would be the next person who knocks on the door. And that person happens to be Gilda, who's in love with the Duke and who intentionally sacrifices herself so the Duke can continue to molest other women.
There would be 2 sets of 4 knocks in that scene.
Yes.
So
Yes,
And funny, Christina, because you said you
but
aren't.
that's not a knock on the maestro, is it? Okay, never mind.
All right, it just took me a minute.
Okay. All right, Maestro, would you do our next and final tune? This one is for Robert. Does that ring any bells? And I'll give you a little clue. That music appears twice in this opera, once near the beginning and once towards the end. And if you get either, you'll be right. But first we have to identify the opera. It's a hard one. All of these are hard.
Yeah.
well, see, if I heard the orchestration, that would make a big difference to me, but want to play it again?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, now that was a little bit more familiar, and I know I've played it myself in rehearsal, but boy, it's gone out of my head.
I don't blame you. That's a hard one. Christina, you want to take a shot at it?
I don't recognize it either. I feel like it sounds like a moment in Eugene Onegin when he comes back at the very end, but that doesn't feel right. But
All right, well then,
sounds a
we,
little bit
we
like that.
won't award any points for the first question, which is to identify the opera. But now I will identify the opera and give both of you, with Robert first, the chance to identify what's happening when that music is taking place. The opera is Verdi's Don Carlo.
Oh.
And
Oh, you asked-
Maestro, would you play the music one more time?
Sure, yeah, great. Is that for me?
That was for you.
Please.
Okay, so I would, it's after, what's his name has expired, he's been shot, and, yeah, so that would be, the guy, I guess, third act.
But we need to know what's taking place while that music is happening.
He's been shot.
Well, there's bleeding going on for one. Right, right.
Oh, I don't think we can give that one to you. Christina, do you want to take a shot?
Not at all. I don't know Don Carlo at all, so I cede my point, Maestro.
That makes three of us. Don't feel bad. Well, anyhow, towards the beginning of the opera, this music signals a chorus of monks that is telling the history of Charles V, the last Holy Roman Emperor, who renounces his wealth and power to join the monastery where he is buried. But towards the end of the opera, the same music is played. And just as Don Carlo is being apprehended for execution, he hasn't been executed yet, the ghost of Charles V appears and
Oh,
pulls him into the tomb.
Untimely arrivals.
A deus ex machina, quite literally.
Well, that's the end of our music round, our
It
Name
is.
That Tune round.
Stephanie, what is our score now?
Forgot my scoreboard last time. Christina 6, Robert 2.
Okay,
Okay,
Still lots of time.
good time to catch up.
Lots.
So now we enter my favorite round,
Oh no.
a round called Who Said That? A famous operatic quote is read in English. Identifying who said it is worth 2 points. Describing the situation in which it is spoken or to whom it is spoken to is worth another 2 points. If you need a clue, request the quote in the original language, but then each answer is worth only 1 point. If you guess wrong in this round, your opponent is given the opportunity again to answer and steal 1 point for each question addressed to them. Randy, first question for Christina, please.
Okay, very good. This opera is Italian. And in English, the relevant excerpt is, whenever I go out by myself, people stop to look and admire my beauty from head to toe. That's never happened to me, but
This is the Bohem, yeah.
so who did you get that?
Oh, yeah.
It's
She was on
Musetta.
it.
I love that aria. It's one of my favorites.
Okay, great. And describe the situation in which it is spoken, please.
Musetta is making quite a an exhibition of herself, shall we say. She is an opera singer and she's being very dramatic. She's trying to gain the attention and the re-affection of her one lost love, Marcello. There we go. I had to go through the scene for a while. And she's making a fool of herself, but she does succeed in the end. She does get him back.
Very good. Quando men vo, quando men vo. All right, the next one is to Robert. And Robert, this is also from an Italian opera. And the quote is in English, Mama, you know that before Turiddu joined the army, he swore eternal love to Lola. Who said that?
Santuzza.
Very
Sent it
good.
to his mother, and I'm afraid the giveaway is having Turidu in that text.
I agree. And what is Santuzza saying?
Sorry, say again.
What is it that describe the situation in which it is spoken?
Oh, yeah. Well, she's standing on the steps just before Easter, and she's not permitted to come in because she's a wronged woman. She's pregnant, and she's begging Mama to intercede with Turidu because Santuzza's pretty sure that she's lost Turidu, but she thinks there's a chance because Mama will tell him to go.
Excellent, excellent. No extra points, but do you know the name of the aria?
It's the oh gosh, I know it so well. Oh, Mama.
Yeah, you got that part.
Yeah,
right,
I'm
very
missing the
good.
first word.
Well, voi
lo
lo
sapete.
sapete.
I just said it at the same time you did.
Okay, very good.
All
All
right.
right. Jesse, over to you.
Here we go. This is going to be for Christina.
Okay.
Originally sung in Italian, the English translation is "Show's over, folks."
Could I have it in the original language, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bring that up.
Good.
La commedia è finita.
I don't know this one for certain. My guess would be Pagliacci.
It is from Pagliacci. Who said that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh. Well, I would like to rule on that a partial point. How are other panelists feeling?
It's already at 1 point, so.
Because she took the
Well,
Italian.
Because we took the, ooh, so we're down to 1. Okay.
Well,
Let's
but
finish
actually,
up the question.
it's not merely if they can describe the situation in which it is spoken or to whom it is spoken.
We can get that as well.
Yeah.
Let's give that a shot. So while you don't know the specific character's name, do you know what the situation is when that's being said?
I would only have to hazard a guess. I would assume that the show is technically over, and Brian sings this aria, Io sono prologo. I would assume it would be that same character signaling the end of the show, but that would be my only guess.
Okay.
not.
Before we rule on that, before we rule on that, I've heard 2 different people actually speak that line. It's not unique to a single one of them. So before we rule on that, let's give let's give Robert the chance to say what he says. If he can get both of the choices, I think I would give him the point.
It can be Canio and it can be Tonio, but there's a tremendous debate on who says that last line, and I've produced the opera quite a number of times, and either one has done it, depending on staging.
Right.
And since Canio is the one that has finally lost his head and he does the murder, and the most asked question I get is, how many people get murdered in that scene? But the original case for Tonio was that he maniacally maneuvered this entire thing to happen, almost like an Iago to Otello. He purposely positions things so that Canio is going to go crazy and lose his mind. So either one can say the line.
I think that is worth a point.
Well,
That's worth a point.
I'd like to propose something here, Randy, for us to just check in. Christina did grab us, send us right to the right opera at the beginning. So I'd like to say Christina gets 1, and let's give Robert 2 because he answered all of the questions.
That
Is
works
that
for
a
me.
fair?
I think
that
that's
fair?
super fair and quite thoughtful.
Excellent. All right,
Yeah.
on to our
got
last
that
question
step.
of this round. Let's go over then to Robert for this question. Originally sung in Italian, the English translation is, let's bring that up on screen. Whoever undertakes the challenge and fails must offer his superb head to the axe. Who said that?
Turandot. Well, actually, she's not the one that utters it. The announcement is made for Turandot.
No. Hold it. We have to know who made the announcement. That's the question, is who said it?
Yes, you're right.
This is a hard one.
But
Well,
what
sort
point?
of.
What? Because he didn't even get the translation. So I'm thinking, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's, he can get more points if you can really name who it was.
So none of the three, Ping, Pang, and Pong, say that.
La legge è questa.
Say that again.
La legge è questa.
Yes.
A little
Yeah.
clue.
I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute. Who
Well, do you
actually
want
ends
to
up-
go ahead and try to describe the situation in which it is spoken?
Well, to my recollection, it's actually spoken twice. And I think that the prince, the Caliph, ends up saying it at some point. But that would be the second time. And I don't think he says it that way directly. So he sort of muses over that point. It's possibly in the chorus line at some point. But they're mostly saying
Gira la cote, gira, gira.
yeah.
And so whoever it might have been, do we know what exactly is going on at that moment?
Well, should we give Christina the chance to identify who said it before we go on to
Oh, okay.
the second question?
Sure.
Just give me
She's
the
ceding
time.
that
Oh,
opportunity.
I'm learning as we go along.
She says no.
Okay.
Well, it's early on because yet another person comes in to offer himself, and he's not able to answer the questions, and he loses his head.
Mm.
The Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia is the one that says it.
No. He's the one who who gets beheaded.
That's
early
right.
on.
That's correct. Oh, yeah, that's correct. Nah, I don't remember who said it.
Well, then I think I might fill us all in.
Please.
So the individual who originally said this was the Mandarin, reading the law to the people of Peking.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
That's
La
right.
legge è
I can see the
questa.
scroll opening.
There it is. So I think we can award 1 for this.
Perfect. Stephanie, our score?
Yes, I'm getting it ready. So Christina has a slight edge. It is at the end of Who Said It round.
Very much.
Christina has 11 and Robert has 9.
Nice
All right.
catching up. Nice catching up. All right, you guys, we are in our final round, our encore round, where each contestant gets 2 questions, now worth 3 points. For these final questions, if your answer is incorrect, your opponent can steal for all 3 points with the correct answer. Panelist rulings are final, even if fallible. Randy?
Okay, Christina, this first one is for you.
All right.
Which opera by an Austrian composer is based on a French play, the second in a trilogy about the foibles of Spanish nobility?
Oh, so the Austrian composer would be Mozart. The French play, the trilogy would be Beaumarchais' Figaro trilogy. And the second one is Le Nozze di Figaro.
Very good. And little side note we have here, Mozart's 1786 opera Marriage of Figaro is based on the play by Pierre-Augustin Caron de Beaumarchais. Fans of the film Amadeus will be interested to learn that in 1787, Beaumarchais wrote the libretto for an opera by Antonio Salieri. Remember him from the opera.
Arch rivals in the movie.
Arch rival, yeah.
Yeah, from the movie. Okay.
All
Robert,
right.
this
Jesse?
Jesse's going to give you the next one.
Yes, I am. So here we go. Puccini's Manon Lescaut deserts her wealthy patron to return to her lover and is deported for prostitution. Deported from France, she dies in a desert. Where is the desert?
Well, she had gone to Paris. And I am thinking more of Massenet's opera than Puccini's opera. So the Manon versus the Manon Lescaut. Well, I don't know what desert that is.
All right. Well, Christina, that gives you an opportunity for a steal.
Oh boy, I don't know either. If I
Would you like
had
to
to
wager?
wager, if I had to wager a guess, I would say somewhere in Egypt. You know, being close.
I was
Like the
thinking
logic you're
Africa,
playing
but not that far east.
Nope.
That's
yeah.
the trickiness of the question.
That's the trick. So actually, the desert is in Louisiana, outside of New Orleans.
It's a
And
swamp.
the ship captain sings that they're going to America, and the scene is identified as a wasteland outside New Orleans. And operatic representations of the story by Aubert and Massenet refer to Manon dying in a wasteland. Puccini's librettist adhered to the original novel by Abbé Prévost, in which De Grue refers to having to cross barren countryside and describes terrain covered with sand, in which he was able to dig Manon's grave with his bare hands.
Hmm.
So with
You
that,
could never
we're back to you.
logic that one out, ever.
I know, it's a tricky one. What's happening there? So
kinda,
back to you,
yeah.
Randy.
Okay. Christina, this is your final question.
Okay.
Music is the universal language, and no music is more international than opera.
True.
Which Italian opera premiered in St. Petersburg is based on a Spanish play about wars in Italy and includes a scene taken from a German play?
St. Petersburg. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. It's steal time, Robert.
Gosh. Well, you know, all those crowns were related to each other, so
They're all Habsburgs.
uh,
Why don't you show the question again?
Well, music is a universal language. None is more international than opera. Which Italian opera premiered in St. Petersburg? And I'll give a little insight here. That's because the composer, an Italian composer, was asked to be in St. Petersburg to compose this opera, and it was first performed there. And it's based on a Spanish play about wars in Italy and includes a scene taken from a German play. Okay, well, I will turn over all the cards, as they used to say on What's My Line. This is Verdes La Forza del Destino,
Huh.
and it was based on La Fuerza del Cine by Angel de Saavedra, Duke of Rivas, with a military camp scene drawn from Wallenstein, Friedrich Schiller's trilogy about the 30 Years' War.
Hmm.
A great opera, if you ever get the chance to
Challenging
do it.
question.
Tough one.
Very, but so interesting. I love it.
Very.
I didn't
All
remember that
right.
it was premiered in St. Petersburg, but you had a lot of interesting additional information there.
Yeah, Verdi spent a long winter in St. Petersburg in order to do that once he was commissioned. There's a video of the life of Verdi. It was about 8 parts. And one of them had him going to St. Petersburg to compose this opera.
Why did he
I don't
go in
think-
the winter?
He was
Yeah,
the
well,
invite of the Russians.
Must the winter come so soon?
Oh, that's good.
All right, Jesse, off to you.
All right, Robert, this is going to be your final question.
Oh,
Here we go. A rarely performed opera by Giacomo Meyerbeer contains an exquisite aria sung by an explorer. It has been recorded in Italian and or French by every great tenor from Caruso to Pavarotti. Can you identify now listen up on this one. Can you identify the opera, the aria, or the character who sings it? You got lots of options to get this one right. So any of those 3, opera, aria, or character who sings it, would get you the points for this question.
yeah, I can't identify the character. I know I've played the aria in both Italian and French. And it was so enormously popular. It was in the old anthology that singers carried with them, and it's not there anymore. Now I can't put my finger on the name of the piece.
Do you know the
Okay,
opera?
off to Christina for a potential steal. Do you want
I
to see
don't
the
know
question
tenor
again?
literature. I'm a soprano. I don't know what
I
tenors
know.
do.
Right,
I don't pay attention.
that's what I say.
Right. Sorry, Randy.
Well, why don't I'll just hum it a little bit. There's no longer any points on the board, but does this help? Ba, 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 ba.
Nope.
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 Well,
All right,
Oh,
well,
go
with
ahead, Jesse.
that, I think it's time to give the answers away and educate us all on this amazing little gem here. So had we named the opera, we would have come up with La Africaine, or in the Italian version, La Africana. The name of the aria, O Paradis, or O Paradiso in Italian.
Yeah.
And then the character who sings it is Vasco da Gama. And the whole piece is about da Gama contemplating the beauty of the island he discovered. That's when it's taking place. And a bit of additional notes here, since we're learning so much about it, is that the African girl, queen of the island, is in love with da Gama, and she saves him from execution and sends him home to Portugal with the girl he loves, then commits suicide. And the libretto is by Eugène Scrivet. So learn something new. We should all, and by the way, we've got some lovely YouTube links that we've circulated listening to this.
That's true. Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Feel free to look that up on YouTube, O Paradio or O Paradiso.
And by the way, I'd like to add, there's this question is actually almost had 2 answers, except for the part about it being sung by an explorer, because Meyerbeer had another rarely performed opera with another exquisite aria. It's one of my favorites. Franco Corelli recorded it, and it was called Bianca al Par. And the opera was the Huguenots, grand opera, huge opera. I think it was last performed in the early 60s with Corelli and some other luminaries in the cast. But all these great arias are disappearing.
It's a shame.
Yeah. All right, Steph,
on that downer note.
tell us,
Thank you.
tell us who the winner is
Yes.
tonight.
Christina did really well, 14-9.
Good for you,
Hard question.
Christina.
You.
Very hard
Very
question.
good. All right, guys. Today's Riddle Me Opera. Christina, congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course, congratulations, Robert, for playing our Riddle Me Opera quiz show this evening. Both of you will receive this Riddle Me Opera priceless Riddle Me Opera coffee mug. Thank you to our panelists, Jesse and Randy, to Elsie Harnsberger for the fantastic Riddle Me Opera theme music, to our incredible writer, Phyllis Elliott, editor Randy Guru, audio clips Christina Blake and Stephanie Morgan Russell for scorekeeping and marketing, and of course, Alan Medak, our executive producer. This production is copyright protected, all rights reserved. Thank you, of course, to our Zoom audience. I am your host, Natalie Salins. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon for another episode of Riddle Me Opera.
Now, what kind of grapes are used in that vineyard?
Only the best.
Only the-